episode of The Heart of the Matter. Today we're talking about searching out sport talent right from their tender ages. And with me is our guest, Mr. Kiton Olatere-Olagbegi, who is the Commercial Director of CLIQ Sports Management. You're welcome to the program, Kiton. Can I call you Kiton?
Yes, thank you very much.
Now, CLIQ is all about identifying young talent. Tell me a little bit about it. Why do you want to identify young talent, and how do you go about it?
Well, we believe that Nigerians are very talented people, and at the moment, we don't start identifying our talent young enough. Typically, a lot of Nigerian sports athletes, they only really get to hone their talent after leaving secondary school at 16. So you now find that the 4 or 5 years after that is when they start getting their first opportunities at competitive sports. So our approach is we go into the primary schools, we engage with them, partner with them, coming there every week, and we established an academy in Dolphin Estate on the Saturdays, and we train children as little as 4 up until they're in their 20s in a bid to get them a career in sports.
So you're going, get them young. Because, I mean, my own understanding of a lot of great sportsmen and women is that they started when they were in their 10s. Like Tiger Woods.
Yes. In fact, Tiger Woods started earlier. Tiger Woods started around 3 or 4. What it is you need time and hours of practice to put in for you to be able to get to a certain level of excellence. And not only that, you also need good coaching. So it doesn't really help you if you're practicing for hours and hours without proper technical guidance. So when the both of them merge, you now get
real talent.
Yes.
Like Serena Williams.
Like Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Michael Jackson. It doesn't end with sport. So talent has to be worked on at an early age so that you have that time.
So how do you go about finding these kids to, you know?
It's very interesting. I mean, the first thing is, generally, we believe that everybody that has a normal, healthy body with a healthy, functioning brain has talent. If they put their talent to a sport that they like football or basketball or athletics, they would eventually be able to be noticed by everybody as being outstanding. And secondly, we also have a team of scouts that go around to look at competitions involving young children and identify them and pick them. So anybody interested in joining the academy can apply, and we can look at that. And also, if you're just playing your normal competitions, if one of our scouts is in the area, luckily you could be invited to join.
Now you talked about academy. What is the academy all about?
The CLIQ Sports Academy was set up in 2006 to come to Nigeria and identify girls or boys that have the talent and the passion to train themselves to become good sportsmen. We've already produced players that have played for the Nigerian under-17 team. Players like Kabiru. Football. Okay. In football. Players like Kabiru Akishola in 2007, Edafe Egbedi in 2009 and 2011, Dejo Olagbegi, who was a goalkeeper in 2009 in the under-20s. So, and there are many more.
Did you
players.
Get anyone into the last one that we won?
No, we don't have a player in this group.
Okay.
We did have a player that went to the camp,
okay,
but he wasn't eventually
selected
with the group.
For the final.
Yes, selected for the final. But you can see that from the last group, the players are getting much younger. So we want to make sure that our children in primary school, in secondary school, can get involved in football or athletics or basketball and be trained to a very high level.
I think everybody that's watching the program supports the idea, okay, of giving children an early start into sports. But what does it entail? Because most Nigerian parents will say, look, I want my child to do sports, but not at the expense of their academics. So what is it going to entail in terms of time and effort on the part of the child?
Well, parents have, my parents anyway, had that idea, and it's still very predominant, that if you're into sport, your academics will suffer. The reason is, when you're into sport and you're devoting time to sport, for you to get better, you need to devote more time to it for you to get better. But the truth is that you can marry both of them easily. In fact, what we're doing is we're actually going to the actual schools to do our program. So we understand that education is very important.
Open door into the schools.
We have into the schools that we're in. There's some schools that feel, no, our parents will not like to focus on sport. We just want to keep them in boarding house and they read. And then some other schools that understand that the extracurricular program is also important in developing the child. We don't just teach the sport. We also believe in 4 core values. Respect. We teach each child to respect the coaches, to respect each other's players, and to respect the referees. We teach them cheerfulness. We teach them that you're responsible for your own mood, and that it's going to be very powerful for you to win any game or succeed in any field if you can control your cheerfulness. Contribution. Each of them as individuals have something to contribute that's unique to them. And excellence. They'll get excellence from passion, from continuous practice. They don't get excellence in one day. But these are the building blocks that we teach them that we believe that is transferable as they grow.
So what does it cost the child in terms of their time? What are they spending their time doing? How much time does it take for a child to do
this? The Dolphin program, the Dolphin Estate program is from 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning up until 11:30 a.m. So that's 3.5 hours in a week. The school programs are 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, typically, on a Wednesday or a Tuesday in the school curriculum. The coaching is good, so it doesn't take them much time.
But that's the time that you're with them.
Yes.
Or your agents are with them.
Yes.
What about the time that they, on their own, have to do certain things to practice? How much time does that add to their time?
Now, it depends on the child. Children have a lot of free time. That's why the homework has been increasing over the years, and a lot of them spend a lot of time behind the computer or spend a lot of time watching telly. If they take some of that time into sporting activity, it's good exercise for their body. It will stimulate the brain.
That word exercise is an important word because the whole idea of sports is that you exercise your body. But apart from sporting, you still need exercise. So we're going to take a short break during which a medical doctor will be talking about the value and benefits of exercise. So viewers, watch this and we'll be back with Keaton in a moment.
Exercise is quite critical for all ages. Critical, very important, vital for the young ones. Critical and vital for the adults. Critical and vital for the older ones. Generally, exercise improves bone status. It also improves the flow of blood, the physiology, and the cognitive area, that is the brain. Exercise improves the ability to be able to understand things and retain things. It also improves self-esteem. If I don't exercise and I assume a shape that most people don't like, again, my self-esteem and value of myself will also be affected. So those are broadly general uses of exercise. Even as a child, all children should be encouraged to exercise. Regrettably, we have some other things that distract children, that make it impossible for children to consider exercising. The TVs, the games, video games and all that, the things that make the children sit at just one place. Those are some of the things that distract children. But generally, exercise should be encouraged at a very young age, and then you carry it throughout the rest of life. Well, let me say that any form of exercise is useful and critical for any specific age that you may pick. But generally, exercises that involve most parts of the body, walking, running, the ones that will task your heart, task your respiratory system, task your muscles, task your bones, task your mind. Those are quite critical in running, walking, and maybe the use of the treadmill, especially the elliptical ones. Unfortunately, if you're on the wrong diet, then that pushes you more to wanting to do exercise. And wrong diet is diets that make you accumulate fats unnecessarily, and then you have to think of ways to shed them. But if you're on the right diet, less fats, yes, carbohydrate is there, but not so much. And then maybe you take lots of fruits, take lots of vitamins and minerals. Those will make it not too necessary for very rigorous exercises. But you still need to exercise in spite of the food. And of course, very basic information, like not exercising immediately after, let's say, a heavy meal. Maybe you wait for about 30 minutes or 1 hour, and then you can do your exercises. Exercise can improve the cognitive area of yourself, that's your mind. You become more alert to issues. You become more apprehensive and able to get solutions immediately, think straight. They also help in ensuring that you don't accumulate too much fat, and when you accumulate too much fat, that goes into your blood vessels. It tends to thicken your blood vessels, makes it possible for you to be at risk of specific diseases like high blood pressure. You get exposed to diabetes mellitus. You're also exposed to some bone problems, especially for the female. As you're getting older, your bones need some form of exercises to prevent you from having bone fractures or poor development of bone, what we call osteoporosis and all that. So as you exercise, apart from having a better self-esteem, you also get incidents of those cases coming down. So you are not really exposed to having diabetes. Even if you have diabetes, there's some level that we said you have to, with exercise, you should be able to cut this down. If you have hypertension, you can say, okay, with some level of exercises, you should be able to cut this down. So it really improves quality of life and self-esteem. If you go to most gyms, you see notices that before you engage in certain exercises, you need to get some medical consultation. And that's because we don't want someone who has a very high level of high blood pressure to come into a rigorous exercise. We don't want, say, the very elderly and frail or any sick, very sick and frail person. There's really no need to just go into exercises unduly. And then if you have, there are some joint conditions, some arthritic conditions that you may have that may not necessitate for you to just go on very active exercise and all that. So, like I said, exercise is actually supposed to be person-specific.
Welcome back to our discussion with Kiton. Now, in that little talk, you learned about the value and the benefits of exercise in all the areas of our lives. And back with Kiton, kids and their sporting. You were talking about exercise. You brought that word up. Where does exercise come in with kids?
They need to have it as a culture that they've imbibed from an early age. It needs to become habit so that it doesn't become work. Parents are very important in the examples that they show the kids and what they encourage in terms of exercise for the children.
Okay, so really, you know, if you exercised regularly as a child, there's every likelihood that when you're 90 or 100, you will still continue to exercise.
That's exactly
because it's become a habit.
It's become a habit. It will become a part of your life, something that you do, and the body needs it so much. Without it, you know.
And so you're really looking to get parents to become partners in making sure that their children do exercise.
Yes, parents are key. The Academy can't do it alone. We want parents to be more involved. We want to have competitions where parents and children are playing. We want parents to come out each Saturday and engage in the program as well. So we need the parents. It's very vital.
Absolutely. Now going back to sport, you're dealing mainly with football and athletics.
Yes.
So I mean, I guess by athletics you're talking about high jump, the sprints,
yes,
the long distance. Are you doing the long distance races as well?
We're doing the shorts, so
okay,
the 100s, the 200s,
okay,
and the jumps.
Okay, and the triple jump,
exactly,
long jump.
Yes.
And so you've got trainers for this.
Yes.
Any plans to expand beyond that into golf, tennis, swimming?
Yes, it's funny you mentioned that. We want to expand to about 6 sports: golf, tennis, swimming, basketball. So it's all in the phases of development. Well, we're happy with how we've done with football. We've not yet produced that athlete, but we're training the because what happens is some of the footballers are also athletes. Okay. So because they're still young,
sooner or later they're
going to choose. So that's where we are. So we'll be happy to come back on the program and say, okay, in athletics we've done this in the future.
Okay, now when I watch some of these Brazilian kids juggling the football, I mean, they become so expert at it. And I look at them and I say, this kid just has a raw talent for football. But what you're saying is that, no, it's not that the child is talented, every child is talented, but you can bring this talent out, yes, by training the child when they're young.
Yes, that's what I believe. I believe the Brazilian player that you saw, if you went to his home or his neighborhood when he was growing up, maybe all the children there were playing something that they needed to have that kind of skill for them to be in that team. And luckily in that neighborhood, they had somebody who was a good coach, who could communicate, who could tell them to drop the bad habits and enhance the good ones. Okay,
so this is a key, is that the talent is there, but it has to be stewarded.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's where you come in.
Yes.
Helping to steward the talent. Now, I would say that the child at 15, yes, that hasn't yet been exposed to sport is more of an uphill battle than the 4-year-old.
I would say you're correct, but at the same time, it doesn't matter when or how you start. A lot has to do with your values and your attitude to growth. Okay. So if you start late at 14 or 15 and you come to every practice and you put in everything to it, you can improve and catch up. We see it every day.
What about parents? Now somebody, you can't spot all the talent on your own.
Yes.
You need the parents to support you in this. Yes. I mean, I mentioned Serena Williams.
Yes.
And I was watching a program on her recently, and what she said was that her father was the one that took her to the tennis courts, played with her, and virtually inculcated in her the tennis habit.
Yes.
Okay, so what role would the parent play in identifying and also helping a child to get into sports?
You see, Serena was lucky because she had positive reinforcement from her father. But she had more than just the reinforcement. The father was a great coach. So he could spend a lot of time with them since they were about 4 or 5, and he could coach them correctly. So today we have probably the greatest female tennis player of all time. So it's still consistent. It's still the same principles I've been saying from the beginning of the program. The coaching has to be right, and then all the hours of practice will come together.
But the parents have got to be able to get the child there.
The parent, without the parents' encouragement, without the parents' backing, it's an uphill battle for the child, you know, unless that child is not supervised. But in the way the world is now, where parents have to supervise their children and supervise every minute, if a parent does not want his child or her child to play sport, that child will not play sport. It won't happen.
Okay, and talking about this, there's been this attitude in probably predominantly African parents that a child needs to graduate in an academic environment, and sports is something that they do incidentally. It's not, shouldn't be part of them. So how do you counter that argument that, look, I want my child to get a degree, I want my child to be able to get a job. If my child becomes a sportsman or a sportswoman and has an accident and can no longer do it, they have nothing to fall back on. Yeah. What would you say to parents thinking that way?
I would say that parents need to see that the world is changing. They're correct in the sense that you can't tell your child to focus on sport and negate education. You need an education for you to function, because your sporting career will end 10 to 15 years at best. You can only do the kind of high-level sport we're talking about when you're young, at a certain age. You know, so parents need to understand now that there are more opportunities, more benefits to derive from encouraging their children to do sport. Because if you get a child that can play high-level sport in that 15 years, he would still be able to read now, because the world has all kinds of degree programs that are flexible, that allow you to still get your degree.
And of course, there are universities, particularly in the United States of America, that will offer sports scholarships, full scholarships.
Oh, yes.
To kids that would come to university, get an academic qualification, but also do pursue their sporting career.
Yes. The education is vital, but you can do both.
So apart from giving them the sports skills,
yes,
you've talked about your 4 core values.
Yes.
Respect, cheerfulness. So you're dealing with their attitudes as well.
Yes.
What else are you giving them? Are you giving them any training, especially the ones that are getting a little older, in how to manage themselves, etc., etc.?
We believe that if we teach you the 4 core values of respect, cheerfulness, contribution, and excellence, when you grow up and you decide not to go into high-level sport, you decide to go into a university, you decide to go into any kind of training, we believe that those values would help you to integrate into any team and function effectively.
Okay, well, I'm thinking now about you're a star.
Yes.
You need a manager.
Yes.
You need to have skills apart from your sports skills that will help you run the business side of your sport.
Yes.
Do you have any?
CLIQ Sports Management is the organization within our fold that does that. So we have sports managers, lawyers who would help you manage your career, look at opportunities, help you with investments, and help you harness the business side of it.
Well, Kito, it's been such an honor to be able to talk to somebody who really is holding the lives or the future of many children in his hands. Is there anything that you want to say right now to the parents or the children who have aspirations to become sportsmen or sportswomen in the future before we bring the curtain down on this program?
Yes, I'd like to tell parents to act now, to not assume that their child has to be a Messi right now at 7 or 8 before they encourage. Just bring your child and put him at the academy and let him see whether he enjoys it or her, because it's a program for boys and girls. We have female coaches as well. So just encourage them. You never know where it will end. The CLIQ Sports Management also manages Nigeria's goalkeeper, Vincent Inyama. Okay. And the Super Eagles coach, Stephen Keshi, for endorsements and commercial branding partnership. So you just never know whether your child is an Inyama or your child is a Keshi. Sports can provide all kinds of careers, including medical careers, all kinds. The scope is limitless.
So it's down to the parents and the
kids.
It's
down to the parents.
If any kids are watching this program,
it's down to the parents.
Well, it's been great having you on the Heart of the Matter. We're really thrilled that you were able to come.
Thank you.
Viewers, it's been a pleasure to present this program. As Kiton said, if you do have children that are young, get them introduced to sport and get them active. Take them to Dolphin if you can, and you can stay and watch and make sure that they have a fun and help develop those skills in them. We'll be back again with another episode of The Heart of the Matter, same time next week. Until then, stay blessed.